Hello and welcome to another edition of our Profile Line Party. Are you excited, Danny?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm wicked excited. This is going to be good. It was nice talking to our guests backstage before the show.
Right. And we have our lovely Maud saying hello. Hello, Jess. So nice to see you. So,
Hey, Jess.
and we have Minnie Moni joining us too. Hello, hello. So, without further ado, we are going to introduce this fun, very rare. I was telling our guests, you have no idea how rare
Mm,
you have a profile. It took quite a bit of digging to even find our guests in the first place. So,
yep.
we will start off with our lovely illustration. Danny, do you want to explain this?
Yeah. So what you're looking at is the whole profile series is based on this analogy of the house. The first floor is always the foundation. Second floor is always sort of the expanse of the whole first floor above the foundation. And then you sort of swirl around the house. You see we're going up the stairs, the third line, the fourth line is the networker looking out into everything. There's the fifth line. And the fifth line has got those blinds. You can see her face, but she's always ready to like withdraw and close the blinds and peer out. So this whole analogy of this fifth line personality is they're behind looking out onto things and people project upon them. They're looking up what's behind that window, what keeps lurking out, what is that person. And so this whole fifth line is about universalizing, and the two itself is obviously on the first floor, and this is about the second line doesn't even know that all the windows are open and it's walking around with its own little trip waiting for someone to pierce its shell, and it's resistant to that piercing. So if you want that second line, you have to sort of get into them first and then they'll come out, and you need to do that sort of with both the 2-5 profiles. Very much you need to do it with both. They're the ultimate of sort of hiding away and then coming out to play. It's yeah,
Mm,
they hide away before they come out to play, and that's just a very common thing for them. They need to know that.
right? That needs to be on a t shirt for all two fives.
Hmm.
So they are world changers, right? So they challenge and alter the status quo. And like Danny mentioned, they have a dualistic nature, right? Their five makes them want to help people, but their two is like, you know what? I would rather just be alone. They two and the five together, when you have them in the lines, it's a harmonic profile, right? So
Yep.
they appear very put together. However, the line two and the line five are both lines of projection. So they're attracting projection like double ended.
Yeah, very, very much so. Need for space, this essential, intimate relationships for personal growth. And so the second line has this incredible way that it gets into relationships, and it's slowly and then all at once. And if they don't do it that way and they don't allow their little bubble to be pierced, things tend to go wrong. It's supposed to be hard to get to a 2-5. This is a core trait. They make it that way and they don't even know they're doing it. And sometimes they do, and sometimes it's a mixture. And the fact of the matter, it's got to be hard to get to a 2-5. Otherwise, the person getting to them doesn't know if they've gotten to the right person, and the 2-5 doesn't know if the right person is getting to them. It's just a
Hmm.
thing. It's a way to filter out what's right for you.
Hmm. So they are also very effective when they're connected in the way Danny mentioned, right? They are generous by nature. They actually do want to help. But before you
Hmm.
can get to that point, like Danny mentioned, you have to kind of get through that shell before you can get there. And crucial for them to have space, even in their closest relationships with their spouses, with their family, with their best friends. Like they inherently need space, and that's how they recharge.
To hermit away. There's aloneness has to be one of the aspects where they just sort of are a hermit, and the other one is then they can be out and do their attractive thing. Yep.
Mhm. So the way they learn and their authority. So like the the common thing with all line twos, they have no idea that they are able to do stuff really well, mind you. So their natural abilities, other people spot it immediately, but they themselves are completely unaware. And when they are clear about what they want to do, right, they are quite effective at tooting their own horn. It's like, you know what, I do this well. But the first part has to come from that outside recognition of like, yeah, you do that stuff well. But once that happens, they're like, yeah, you're actually right. And we touched upon the projection feel, right? They have
Mhm.
expectations coming from both their line 2 and their line 5. Do you want to
Yeah.
elaborate?
Yeah, though that expects people expect stuff, and that's literally the field that is most difficult for the 2-5 because on one end they're saying, leave me alone, don't try to influence me. On the other end, they're saying, but I have things to say. I have things to say. Let's talk about this. Um, and so it's very confusing, and people project upon that to say, "You do have things to say all the right things and save me, and you do have things to say, you're a little natural, I bet you're wicked good at this." And so what they
Mhm.
get is, "I bet you're wicked good at saving me." "I bet you're wicked good at fixing the stuff. I bet you're wicked good at the thing, and you're so nice, and you're so easy to get along with-ish mostly because 'cause you're a little hermit, and you're just basically you're a hermit at first. Your very first instinct is just to be democratic about all that. If everyone goes along with this, I go along with it too type thing, because they're looking for harmony so that they can stay in a flow that's not bothering them. And so both are being called upon. We know how people call upon that fifth line. They want things from it, and they sully its reputation if they don't give it.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. And this goes right into what Danny's saying, right? So when it's a line 5, right, they have to be providing practical solutions, right? It needs to be something that anyone with any skill level is able to execute, right? And the minute that the solution isn't actually practical, your reputation goes down the tube.
Start to go down, and you start to recognize it, and you start to feel that projection more, and it starts to turn from it always starts positive. Every 2-5, every fifth line everywhere has this amazing ability to recognize people are projecting upon me. Why don't I take advantage of those projections? And they should. They absolutely should, to help weed out the ones that aren't right for them, but when they don't know, it's nervous making. What do they want from me? And I don't want them to
Mm.
want stuff from me. So it's both,
Mhm. So
but
it's
you're
like
still
a
a
little
little.
tightrope.
Yes, it can be in tighter situations. You're finding your right tribe is wicked, wicked important. Finding the right partner, if you're partnered up, is wicked important.
Mhm. So challenges, right, and ways to feel empowered, right? So when a 2-5 is feeling like they're not being respected, they are going to rebel, right? They're going to be like, "Well, no." Right? They're going to push back. They're not going to just sit there and take it. Um, but what's interesting is they are very good at handling these projections and expectations. Maybe Danny can
Yeah,
explain
they
why that's
grow.
the case.
Yep, because it's a life process. You grow good at it. And we need everyone to be in their strategy and authority, watching their experiments so they can get good at being themselves and stop being what they're not so that they can get good at this. Because right now, sometimes they're good at it and sometimes they're not, is the thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just nervous making, mental anxiety, emotional nervousness. Let's say they have an open throat, they can't say anything. Let's say they're open sacral and they can't tell if they should jump into the energy or not. Let's say they're whatever. Open ego, they don't feel worthy. Suddenly they don't want to say anything about it necessarily. It's just they need to get comfortable in their own skin. That's so important for a 2-5. It's like, hey, you've got a lot of stuff coming in on you. Don't do anything. In fact, walk away because it always makes people want you more. Walk away. And if they don't want you a little
Right.
more, they might not be the right tribe for you.
So this goes right into the leadership role thing. So when I
Mhm.
was doing my catching up and educating myself on this profile before our show, Ra is the analogy of like they're kind of like the general, right? They're expected to come save the day, but they're not expected to like hang out. Like they
Right.
did the thing and then they retreat. So they
That's
come
the
save the
practical
thing
nature.
and then they leave.
That's
They're
their
not supposed to
practical
stay.
nature.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the first order of business and the first talent and skill you need to get practical at. When to bounce. when to
Yes.
get out of Dodge. Yep. And bouncing,
Right.
by the way, doesn't mean you totally disconnect. It's just when do you just sort of excuse yourself? And plus, you want to excuse yourself anyways. Half of you is a hermit.
Right,
You-
exactly. It's
So you
actually
already want
crucial
that.
for you not to
Yeah.
be there. But yeah, even there's a funny explanation when I was first getting into human design. uh One of the people I was studying with, she said there's like, I'm a line 5. I actually have to, and she was a 5-1, by the way. She's like, I have to maintain distance from my clients and my students because I am most effective when I am not always readily available. And I thought that was like really interesting. Like, huh, okay. You're not
That's a fair
supposed to always
statement.
you're not supposed to be besties. She's like, that's a line 4 thing.
Well, they're supposed to have some besties like super duper, but it's just most of the people are acquaintances that you've got to get in and out of, and no promises. You wait till that projection comes in upon you and you see if that feels like the right opportunity, the right thing, the right universalization for you. And just keep in mind, you're here to universalize. Make
Right.
bigger that which is your uniqueness out into the world, to have it be
Mhm.
made bigger and universalize that across the peoples that are around.
And since again you are still a line 2, right? You
Yep.
have calls, right? And
All
the correct calls will have personal and social transformation, right? So you'll
totally.
you'll be changing yourself and everything outside of you. And you are here to give solutions, like we mentioned, that are going to help your reputation, and the way your reputation is kept intact is if it's something that anyone can do. It can't be like some, high level theoretical thing that can't be tangible and applicable. It
Right.
has to be applicable and
Practical.
usable.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just
Practical and
using different
simplified for the
words.
masses. Yep.
I'm going to make it
Well,
land.
oh, no, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Right. And then conclusion, Danny, if you want to handle this one.
The desire for harmony. Harmony is this creative way of yours. Your creativity as a second line is through harmony and craving space for balance in life. Strategic hermiting. It means it's just the second you feel like you should withdraw and see if you needed to withdraw. Would see whatever you needed to see from a withdrawn space. You know what I mean? It's a safe place to go. I do it all the time. And it's the successful sidestepping of other people's requirements through isolation. And it's always we're always successful at it. Just get used to that. Education is so needed for the second line. It needs to be educated because it just doesn't know. It just doesn't know, and it could accidentally go through a whole life missing out on a whole ton of stuff it needs to know, and still be naturally good at certain stuff. But um, this respecting of boundaries, it's essential for personal and professional success. And fifth lines get practical at that. It becomes super practical because the creative output for the fifth line is the attracting of society. It's seductive. There's a seduction inside of all fifth lines to either be seduced or to seduce. That's a powerful thing. And it's meant to be used for its highest and best, usually the empowerment of others and yourself along with it. Um, and then the following the strategy and authority, and this ensures this universalization of the talents to fulfill this purpose that becomes so important to you. The purpose is first born out of this call you receive for the second line. Let it be profound or let it rest when it really is going to move you, and watch how that energy moves into you and lights you up. That happens, and that's a genetic trait, and you can't do anything about it. So live it out. I did.
Mhm.
It's great. Fucking great. I love it, man. I get called into stuff and I can't stop. And now I'm me. Yep.
Perfect. That's this is the show that's helping people be themselves, right?
What we're after.
That's the point.
Yeah.
So, what we are going to do now is we are going to bring up our lovely guests. We are so excited to introduce all our incredibly amazing 2-5 guests. So, we're going to start with our 2-5 manifester, Corinne. Hello.
Corinne, hola.
Hello,
How are
hello,
you?
hello. I'm doing well. I thought it was funny that I go at first.
It's just the order I'm seeing everyone in. Hi,
It's hilarious.
Clam
I'm
is
like,
in the
yes.
house. Amazing. So you can let anyone know what you would like them to know about yourself,
Mhm.
like a little mini
Uh,
intro.
Mini intro. Well, I'm a 2-5, and I usually say I show up however people see me as in their lives.
Yep.
I am a therapist, a licensed therapist. I'm a sex therapist. And I'm also a Reiki teacher. I also dabble in human design. I also am a yoga teacher. I've had a real estate career. I've kind of just done like a million and one things, just hopping around,
Mm,
filling the need of service.
yep.
Oh, and I also own
Good.
a business now, and people can find me at flowering underscore heart underscore wellness on Instagram, or flowering
Awesome.
heart wellness on Facebook.
I was gonna say, Corinne, please, when you get a chance, put that in the chat so then everyone can
Yeah,
easily find you.
Yep.
And then, without further
sure.
ado, our projector guest, Justin. Hello.
Hi.
Justin, good
Speaking,
seeing you, bud. Thanks for
Yeah.
texting
yeah.
me.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So,
Yep.
same thing. Let the crowd know whatever you'd like them to know about yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm Justin. I live in Kansas. I have 4 kids. My wife had a battle with cancer over the past 8 years, and she passed away about a year ago. So I've got the 4
Mm.
kids by myself. It was one of the hardest things I've went through. And I just recently moved here to a different town just to kind of get a fresh start. But I was raised really strongly Christian until up in just about 5 or 6 years ago. I kind of entered into a deconstruction process, and it's about 3 or 4 years ago that I was introduced to human design, and just a huge green light went on, and it's been
Yeah.
fun just checking more into that, finding out about myself, and nodding along.
I totally get it. I love it when you guys recognize something. A lot of times, so if I want to know what's going on in the world, a lot of times I just watch what you guys recognize,
Yeah.
and I put several of them together to come up with a clear picture. It's a wonderful thing to do. And it's just like I do with the manifestors. If the manifestors, they hunt alone, so you can't so much watch what there is no they. There's one at a time. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
there is an impact zone that shows up, and when enough manifestors are mad at the same thing, it's a problem. It's
Yeah.
a problem. It's a beautiful indicator, and when they're at peace about enough things, it's again beautiful indicator.
Amazing. Speaking of
Absolutely.
indicators, the
Yeah.
master of indicators are our reflector friends. So let's
Mm.
introduce our reflector guest. Hello, Mindy.
Mindy,
Hi.
it's so
Glad
good
to
having you here, Mindy.
Thanks.
Yep.
Well, my name is Mindy Lutch, and I am a reflector. Been studying human design for about 5 years, and have always really connected with mirrors. And so I love that when I did that and I realized I was a reflector, I was like, okay, there's something to this.
There's something to it. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
for sure. And I've been in the spiritual world for about 28, 29 years. I did a lot of body work and hands-on healing. And then also am a live music junkie.
Mm.
And I see a lot of live music. It's one of my happy places. One of the other things that I do in
In and
my life.
amongst the people, right? In and amongst the people.
Yes,
Did you know?
absolutely.
Did you know beforehand that was a thing?
No,
Look at
definitely
that.
not. But
Yeah.
it explains
So much.
like when I'm at home, and I am a hermit, and I live in the middle of nowhere, and then I go out and I'm amongst tons of people, and then I come back home. So
Yep.
happy in both.
Dude, that's the t-shirt right there, man. That fits.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Oh,
then I'm also a jewelry designer. And I work with gemstones and other symbols and metals and all that kind of stuff as well.
nice.
Very cool.
And
And
I'm also a life coach. I forgot to mention that. That's what I do mostly these days. And I as a reflector, it just as a 2-5 reflector, it makes me a really powerful life coach to be able to see everything so clearly from my perspective, and understanding the universe perspective as well, and being
Sure.
able to kind of see 5 steps ahead, and it's always a lot clearer from my side.
Mm.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mindy. And certainly our last but not least guest, our manifesting generator 25. Hello, Sue.
Hey, Sue.
Hello. Great to meet you guys.
Yep, nice meeting you, Sue.
Right?
Nice to meet
So
you.
tell us whatever you'd like us to know.
Sure. So I've been on a health journey probably for the last 12 years, and it led me into being an accidental midlife athlete and a world record holding power lifter.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that brought me into my body. And then along the path, probably about 9 years ago, started really diving into spirituality in general and finding all the different avenues. And as a classic to occurrence, discovered that a lot of these communications and spirituality and clair abilities just come naturally and they just happen. And I didn't understand that that was unique. So that was very nicely pointed out to me.
Yeah.
And from all of that background, have really focused on elite performance coaching for sales professionals and entrepreneurs to really help them get to the next level, both in business and in life.
That gets rewarding after a little while. I'm betting that feels pretty good, and especially to start using this stuff. How long have you been sort of in your experiment with human design, like looking at, like you've seen it now? You've totally seen that. Oh my God, I'm these things, and I have a strategy as a generator. How long have you been in it?
So was introduced to human design about 6 years ago, and then started my deep dive 4 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, that's awesome to hear. So ultimately, from this portion, we're going to move on and end up playing a little bit of bingo. And then when we come back from that, I'll be asking some questions and trying to make it personal. We'll just sort of just ask some questions and answer things too. And while we have you here, I always like to ask people, Sue, you weren't handy when I handed out my phone number, and Moana won't let me do it live. Apparently, I'm not allowed to say it out loud, but I got yelled at. But get it offline and give a call and stuff. And I love coaching people and just finding out what's next, they might need. So yay on that.
Yay. Okay, so without further ado, Danny, you are going to play tag with Moni. So Danny will come back during the fun roundtable part. So for now, adieu and hello to Moni, our amazing other co-host. We get to have 3 hosts on this show. You don't get 1, but 3.
Quite a deal.
Right. So she is going to walk you through the wonderful bingo game, and I am going to leave now.
Thank you, Moana. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you guys again. So we're going to dive right into bingo. I suppose I can go over the premise of the game for anyone listening who may not be aware. We're going to be listing up some prompts. Our 4 lovely guests all have little bingo cards, and they're going to mark off with our prompts. And then the first one that gets vertical, horizontal, diagonal, or the 4 corners in that little center free spot calls out bingo. You're the winner. But more than anything, it's just to be able to like hang out and chat and like break the ice and get to know each other. So you guys ready?
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
All right, so our first prompt is world changers. 2 5s are known to be world changers. Next one we got needs alone time.
Heavy.
So that one's like, yep, moving on. Hermit
That's
needs
important.
alone. Oh yeah, it's wild too. My boyfriend is like a 2-5 hermit, and like he can start getting like edgy if he doesn't have his alone time. So it's like he'll be gone all day for work, and then I'm all excited to see him for like 10 minutes, and then he's got to go hide.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Naturally harmonious. Do you guys find yourselves to be naturally harmonious?
Yeah, I can
I
tell when I
guess.
get into a situation, I really like to make people feel at ease because it helps me feel at ease.
Oh, that's a really neat observation.
Yeah.
I was gonna say playing devil's advocate, kind of trying to like really understand
Hmm.
both perspectives or like think of it from that perspective.
Oh, that's neat, and especially like that heretic side. That's just like, I don't know, I got a heresy. Maybe you're gonna like it. And the next one we have is helps others.
Yeah, it's always satisfying when someone recognizes something in you and then invites you, and then you can help them with that. That's a very satisfying arrangement.
That's really neat, especially with like that second line where it's like you guys are just like naturally good at things that you don't necessarily realize, and we're just like, wow. And then you get that added thing with the fifth line that's just like, you're amazing, and you're gonna save our day with this special natural talent, and like, and if you can like deliver on that, like you guys can like get ahead real good.
Yeah.
Appears put together on that projected side. You get both of them.
I feel like I do not look put together.
But do other people maybe see you as put
Um,
together, even if you don't necessarily see it in yourself?
Yeah, way too much. They give me way too much credit.
Right? I just like seeing the nods from everybody. Our man Jen and our reflectors like, yeah, maybe I'm not put together, but they think I am.
Well, and as from the reflector point of view, it's like they say it to me, they project it onto me, but it really belongs to them. And so I'll like put it back onto them, like, oh no, this is actually you, and they can never take it.
That's a really cool reflector specific insight. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Effective altruism.
Mm.
And that
Could
practical
you elaborate
solution.
on that?
Oh yeah. So like the effective side would be like that the heretic side, right? Because like the fifth line needs to offer practical solutions, right? If we offer, I'm a 3-5. If we offer like practical solutions, then like we are saving the day. But if we can't offer that practical solution, like that's when that like flips on us and gets weird. So the effective side being that practical solution, and the altruist side is that like I like to help people because I'm a 2-5.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a funny phrasing. The next one we have is needs space in relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah. My husband is a 6'2" manifesting generator, and we've been together for 29 years, and we definitely give each other the space that we need. And even like right now he's kind of working half of the time in the other part of the country, so there's definitely like that space, but then there's also that like longing for that connection too. So I do notice that there's both, and then there's like that excited part of like, oh yay, I miss you.
Yeah, it's like you have time to miss each other.
Right.
And that's especially interesting with like the 6'2", because I don't know how old he is, obviously, but like if he's on the roof, then like aloof and on the roof, the 6 line thing, and then being a second line with the body, then it's like uber hermit.
Yes, he can be. And in relationships as well, like since I kind of travel, come home, and like only get my interactions when I travel, I get that space in my other relationships as well. So it works really well for me.
That's cool. That's really cool to hear. Unaware of talents, because that second line, like you guys don't realize how amazing you are, and then we're like looking and just like, wow.
Yeah,
I
that
agree.
for me, that's very key. That I just assume everybody else can do the thing like the way I do the thing, and so, other people need to point out to me that no, that's not standard. That's something special.
Yeah, I feel like anything I've done, I think about like my yoga teacher training. I remember everyone being like really like dysregulated by having to teach in front of everyone else, and I was just like, I mean, I don't I'm not really getting it. Like we just go up, we do our thing, we get down, you know, like it's very interesting to realize that's not a common like experience.
Oh yeah, you 2-5s are super special. Like it's ridiculous. Like a third line, like I just fall on my face all the time to learn stuff, and then like my 2-5 boyfriend, he'll like just like go off on his own and learn some things, and then he like comes back an expert. I'm like, what just happened? What did you just like become this natural? So y'all are very special, and you very much should know that.
Thank you.
Attracts projections with that, both sides, the 2 and the 5.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the 2 line was also like that, but I feel like I have to kind of remind myself. I think a daily affirmation of mine that's really helped is like, you know, a lot of times it's not you. It's like this is their stuff. Like that projection field, once you really turn on it, it's like, oh, this is not my stuff. Like it's like a light bulb moment for me. I'm like, why do I even care about this? I don't care about this. This isn't even mine.
That's so powerful because it's really true. Because it's like that 5th line is just like it's the karmic mirror. So people are gonna like throw at us like their own stuff. So it's like when you could realize that like there's that bit of hurt, but then there's the like, hey, this isn't mine. And then like recognizing like which are the projections that like you should be in, and which are maybe the people who are projecting stuff that like maybe it doesn't really align with you.
Yeah. That's really key. That's something that I've been paying more attention to as I get older, and I can see myself when I was younger of seeing those projections and being like, oh, I can help this person. They want me to help me, and just running at everyone, trying to be the solution, then realizing that's not beneficial. It's good to say no to some things and lean into what's right for me.
That's really good, especially as like a projector, because like there's just that tendency of like, I know how to fix things and I'm going to go do it. And I want to help everybody because I could feel them so much. And then you're just like exhausted. So like good on you for like recognizing that.
Yeah.
Good at self-marketing is the next prompt.
That's something I've really noticed too. That's one of the things I've had several different jobs, and it's always like the interview part's pretty easy because I can sell myself. Like I can kind of find out what things they're wanting, and I can find out the things with me that align with that. I can sell myself pretty quick.
That's a good skill.
Yeah.
For me, that's definitely been a deconditioning aspect, that the more I call it being grounded and centered and aligned within myself, then the more that I speak, the more the marketing lands.
That's a good one. Especially as like manifesting generator, right? Because you'll have that like motor to the throat. So when you are centered and grounded in yourself and it's correct for you to like respond and speak, then it's like, bam, like you're noticed, you're recognized, and the projector and like powers through the throat. Good on you. Good on you.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like it's a lot of deconditioning for me as well, especially as a manifester, because I feel like I grew up kind of like just be quiet because you're doing too much anyway. So like learning that it's okay to be good at that has been a real like deconditioning process for me, and like natural, like accepting that it kind of comes natural. It's been a lot to be like, oh, okay, I can do this, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, manifestors, like y'all are amazing, and I feel like the outside projection is like manifestors could do anything, and there's this like initial jealousy for the manifester. But so often I find that manifestors have been so like, you're too impactful, stop knocking into me, and then they like pull back and like really make themselves small. So for you to be able to like learn how to navigate that and like not make yourself small, and instead just be like, hey, I'm gonna go do this, and inform people so they get out of your way, and then like recognizing, you know, like you can be amazing and speak good about yourself.
Yeah.
So the dual nature, if you recognize that you have a dual nature.
I know for me, I have a lot of 2 elements throughout my profile, throughout my design and chart, so that it's that really strong connection and one-on-one, both in work and in relationships. And then there's that I don't want to be with anybody, retreat, renewal time to be by myself. And that's how I see that duality.
Well said. Next one we have is hermit side.
Yeah. I love my hermit side. I enjoy it. I live outside of a town of 2,000 in a large valley. And so I love being at home. I don't have many friends around here. Even the ones I do, I see my other friends across the country more than I do my home friends. And it's just a really important part of my life for sure.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I love it.
That was one of the fun things to learn. Looking back at myself, it kind of helped me understand some things because I always kind of identified with a extrovert, but not completely because I have an introvert side too. And then I read a paper once when I was younger about introvert extrovert, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, there's something there. And so, and then to realize that, yeah, there's moments, you know, even when I was younger, that I just like to go in my room and read comic books, or just I had to like kind of veg and get away. And yeah, it's definitely that side coming out. You can feel it.
And how healthy it is for second lines, like when you guys go off in hermit and like are able to integrate all your knowledge, like you're so much more, I feel like, centered and secure in yourself, as well as like more capable and powerful to like be who you're meant to be in the world on that like fifth line universalizing side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
On the heretic side, how's your relationship with that? Everyone loves the hermit side. How do you feel about the heretic side?
I felt that strong in me all growing up. You know, even in Christianity, I was always a fringe Christian, always asking questions, always calling BS on things, and ultimately, it's what led me out. And one thing I just always felt is like it's a hook inside of me for truth that has pulled me through stuff, because that heretic is always going to keep wanting the truth no matter what, and you can just feel it pull you through if you hold on to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I have a defined head, ajna, and throat, and so I'm like constantly. I just want to know what's underneath of something. Like I'm constantly questioning. I'm really curious. I'm also like a double Gemini, like a sun and a moon. So I'm a very like curiosity really fuels me. So that curiosity I feel like is always leading me to, I think, challenge other people, and obviously then their feelings about it. But for me, it's so neutral. It's like I'm just want to know more. Like I want to have this conversation and like continue peeling back the layers of it.
Yeah, for me, it's always been about internally seeing the world differently and seeing the world differently from the people around me. So asking them questions like, why do you do it this way? And for me, the worst answer is, we're doing it this way because we've always done it this way. And that makes no sense to me, ever. If there were some very important reason why, I can accept that. But we're just doing it because we always do it, no.
Yeah,
like that is not an acceptable answer.
No.
It doesn't even make sense.
Exactly.
Like that's not how the world functions.
No.
Your guys' reactions was so good. It was like all the fifth line bodies were like, oh my God.
So I don't necessarily see myself as someone who's a heretic in the sense of, needing to seek the truth and needing something different than what's happening right now all the time. But it's more, I think differently, so I'm going to accept limitations. I'm going to accept the world as it is. And how can the pieces be put together in a different way than they currently are to be at their best, either more efficient or better for more people, something of that nature.
Very well said. And especially, that like the heretic side is like the body side. So it's like not really aware of it. Like it's there and you recognize it because you see how your life is like impacting other people and whatnot. But like that, like not conscious of the heretic side. It's just this like natural part of you.
Yeah.
Handles expectations. Have you learned the ways to kind of like navigate that to not, because I find so often it's like the fifth line, like we'll get in trouble when somebody like projects something on us and like, I had no idea and I didn't promise that. And then they get mad at us. Have you learned ways to kind of like handle that?
I have a question. I'm so sorry. Is this different from handle parental expectations on the bingo card?
Yes, that one is a separate
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think any fifth line has like a rougher time with the parents.
Yeah.
I guess I would just say that like I try not to go fall into anybody's expectations of anything. Like I just like really don't at all.
I would agree. I don't really like people having expectations of me. Like,
Like it's weird.
yeah, I this isn't necessary. You know, I guess like I understand the understanding of it, of really knowing what people are wanting to expect. Like I get it on a logical base, but I don't enjoy or really like focus or think about other people's expectations of me.
Yeah, especially as a manifester. Like, I'm doing me, leave me alone.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, as a projector, those expectations you can feel them, and you can feel your desire, want to satisfy those to kind of prove yourself or whatever. But and when I was younger, I would run around trying to help meet people's expectations, and then when you don't, you get bitter and frustrated, and they lose their desire for you or respect for you, and it's frustrating. So it's a process of really rising above that, and it's challenging at first.
You guys are all saying such amazing stuff. And like, it's so neat seeing how like it's specific. Like you can see the reflector saying the reflector things. The man is saying the manifest and January thing. And the manifestor's like, I'm doing my own thing. And the projector like being like, how do I deal with everyone's projections when I want to save them all, but only the right people who appreciate me? This is great. This is so good. Providing practical solutions. How have you seen that play out and like possibly help you in navigating those expectations?
I think that's kind of a part of like the work I do, like as a therapist, kind of helping people get to the change that they're wanting, and from like a objective viewpoint.
I'm also that person who always asks lots of questions to make sure that all of the details and all the pieces are being put together in a way that can actually come to fruition. And, have you thought of this part? Have you thought of that part? And just make it very specific and very, very practical.
Yeah, this is something I operate in a lot. This is one of the main things I feel come up is providing practical solutions for people who have questions or people who are trying to do things or be more efficient. It's, if I feel that invitation and if it feels right, it could be like, hey, what if we try it this way? Or what do we think if we do that or whatever? And it's very effective. That happens a lot.
Yeah, I find that I can see it really clearly, and then I may say something, but I try not to really focus on whether they're gonna take it and run with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Give the practical and then let it go.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-attachment.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's an important part of that for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I just realized I think I have bingo. I have a line going.
Yeah, you got it. You won.
Yeah.
Well, bingo.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are we good stopping there? Or do we want to run her up? We can dive into the big questions next if you guys are ready for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
Awesome. Well done on bingo. And it was super fun playing with you guys and like seeing the different interactions and really neat seeing like the manifestor's like, I'm gonna inform, and the man gen is like, cool, what do we need to figure out to like build this together? And the reflector's like, I'm gonna tell you some stuff, but I'm a reflector, so it might be slippery and like whatever. Like the projector being like, I can get to the bottom of this when it's right. Super, super fun. Thank you guys. This is super great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we, have Moni slip back into backstage, one thing I forgot to tell everyone is we're still doing the transit report. So that has not been forgotten. So what we do every week is well, not we, Moni and Danny,
The collective
cover
weight.
the transits to kind of give you an overview of what the week is going to look like. So that happens after we're done playing games. So you can hang around backstage and listen in, or you could just watch from your device, whatever. But at that point, you are free to leave. I forgot to say this during sound check, so sorry I have to do this live, everyone.
It's okay. It's good for
Thank
the
you.
audience to know that we'll doing the transit weather at the end, so it all works out.
Yeah.
Rightio. So amazing. Moni, I am going to swap you out with Danny again. Whee!
Tag.
All right, Danny, are you
Mm.
excited to
Yeah,
pick this wonderful group's
we got
brains?
questions to ask. I saw what you guys were doing. I thought it was really great. You know, Moni just called it out. Look at everyone's being themselves. We've been seeing a lot of that, and so I guess the message is we'll see a lot more of it as soon as you expect to see it, basically. But
Okay, so I'm going to pop away. I'm going to put the question in and then Danny pop off and you answer the way you want because we want you now to be in your 2-4 bubble. All right.
2-5.
2-5. Yes, sorry. I'm still living in 2-4 land. That was last week. All right, here we go.
So questions. I'm just going to rattle them and I'm going to riff on them a little bit too. So how have you experienced, your natural need for withdrawal? Like, give me some real specific examples and what it was doing for you at the time when you were doing it. And throw in the times when it feels like you were running away and the times when you just needed it, so you can start to see the difference. There's always a binary for each thing. That's why I'm saying it that way.
I guess for me, the first thing that comes to mind is that I need it built into my schedule to be healthy. That it has to be not necessarily the same day of the week or the very specific nature of it, but I need regularity of being by myself. I need time to recharge and to just allow the people in my life to know that they haven't done anything wrong. I'm not mad at them. There's not a problem. I just need restoration.
No, I feel like 100% when I think about like the binary piece of like knowing when that you need it built in automatically versus like I found myself just letting it happen. And then so now I'm texting everyone like I'm fine, like everything is okay, or like I just wouldn't say anything. I called it my hermit mode literally before I knew any of that. And I found that if I kind of just let people know like this is a part of my process, like I do it now in like a systemic way. Like I don't work on Fridays because I need to have that extra day. Like a weekend is not long enough. Like I need a day to not talk, and then I can engage in like a social activity. So I think about it like from a systemic perspective throughout my life now of like on every level I need like a hermit mode, whether it's energetically, physically, emotionally. Like I need my space to recharge because I feel like it makes me a better person. Especially like in my line of work. Like if I can take care of me, I can then be 100% the 2-5 for everyone else.
Yeah, I echo that. It's really important, and it's good if you can schedule it and kind of anticipate it. Sometimes when it just kind of naturally flows and you wait and don't get it in, that you can feel it. I remember there was a period of time where my wife was having some health struggles, and I was having to just be there all the time and be engaged with people and her, taking care of her and stuff. It was a long period of time, maybe 6 months, before I really had a chance to like have some alone time. Or you'd have little moments here and there. You would just kind of sit and enjoy and soak it up. And I could feel my body almost like it was hungry or starving. Like it felt like I needed that. And then other times in life where you tell that you have those rhythms. And going out in nature is the most important thing for me. If I can get out in trees and water and stuff like that, it really, you can tell how it just totally balances yourself out better, and you feel way more satisfied and centered.
Yeah, I just make sure that it's scheduled and it just has naturally happened over I think the question was in the long run, and it's like I've never really not had it. Like I've always been able to like make it work. So I just do. But I'm also curious about how other 2 5s like some of the activities that like Justin just mentioned, like nature works really,
Mhm.
really well for me. And like curious like TV or things like that or music, how
Mhm.
these things reflect because I know for me like really stupid things like a Bravo TV show or something like
Yes.
totally stupid um is
Yeah.
like the best thing for me, and like I can't explain like 'cause I don't have like drama in my real life, so like I don't know, like you guys are all laughing and nodding, so I'm assuming that
Yeah.
it's ringing
Like nature
true.
is definitely my thing. Like I feel like nothing makes me feel connected, but also like so alone in nature. And I'm also like a mountains environment, so I just love
Oh yeah.
like looking. Looking is my favorite pastime. But also I feel like I need to like dissociate every now and then, and I do that through Bravo TV specifically. Like Below Deck, like something about a good reality TV show,
Yeah.
like just does it for me. Like that, give
Mhm.
me that and like a good like 6 hour chunk of time, and honestly, like I'm cool. I can go back to what I need.
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
amazing how fulfilling that is. I just can't explain it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I moved to the ocean, and for me it was took me a while to figure out what aspect of it was really restorative, and for me it's the air,
Mhm.
and at
Mm-hmm.
times just the physical putting feet in the sand. And so just walking by the ocean, not necessarily going in or swimming or doing any of that, or even just sitting on the beach, like that's not my thing, but it's more just being exposed to the ocean air.
Mm.
And then I'm a caves person, and so I cocoon in the wintertime, literally in blanket on the couch, and will sort of chill out with not necessarily Bravo, but more Food Network and HGTV and,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing of a little brainless, as well as, um, some fun books just to either um, satisfy my two-ness of learning something new
Mm.
or just escapism and
Mm-hmm.
having some fun, like some fun fiction, that kind of thing.
I do like books reading as well. Like, give me like a really outlandish story, something that I can get lost in. That's enjoyable too. Like, I find it helps my imagination and like my metaphors as well, like in conversation.
Yeah.
You guys, you 2 5 basically make it look easy. What I've always struggled at the 2 4 with being my tune-in. I'm like, wow, you guys, that practical thing, that's real. I guess that practical thing is real as it gets. Um, it's amazing. I'm watching it handle it all, and I'm thinking, well, my experience was a little different with my tune-ness. And these guys, no, you got practical stuff to do with it. You gotta, and he sort of all had that. That's amazing. I'm like, no, it's got to be network. Somebody needs to be told. Um, that's so funny. Uh, how do you experience this double pressure projection zone? The expectation um, that you're special, your talents, you can save others, and all. How do you experience the fact that it's double? Now that we've sort of pointed it out, and try and tease out specifics if you can, anything to help point to it. That it's double. We're looking for duality. There's two of you.
I would say, I think for me, my experience with this like pressure of projection and expectation, like especially when it comes to times of need, I guess I really don't, this is going to sound terrible, I don't necessarily think a lot about like what others need from me. Like I'm in a lot of deconditioning of being okay with the fact that like I do have these solutions that help others and that I do end up helping them in a lot of ways. But I guess the pressure of it, I'm just now getting to a space for me where I'm just kind of like, okay, well, it is what it is. This is a part of your design. So how do you work with it, and how do you like own it? I think it's hard because when people want me to come in and save them, I'm like, I'm in my hermit mode. Like, this is going to have to wait, until I recharge a little bit. But I think it's also owning that I'm going to come in my own particular way, and it might not be in the way that they want me to, and that's okay, because like their truth doesn't have to match with my truth, and my truth doesn't have to match with their truth. And so I've been trying to kind of really own that, and not just kind of, practice owning it, but like really feel it and embody it. And so I would say that it's been a lot less anxiety for me when I kind of just take ownership that like people see me differently than I see myself, and that is okay.
Yeah.
I think for me lately, especially as someone who is a coach and someone who is naturally someone that a lot of people come to talk and to find solutions, when I start a conversation with someone, if I can tell pretty quickly that that's the direction it's headed in, I have learned to ask them, is this something you want to just share with me and you want me to listen? Or is this something that you really want support around and you want solutions for? And then there's a pause, let them think about it. Because sometimes you just want a friend or someone to talk with and to share something, and that's it. And you don't want to fix anything in the moment. And then other times people are coming and they're like, yeah, I want some help and support and I want to change this and fix it. And this way, there's that expectation up front of what's the next step? What am I sharing with you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really important. That's especially in marriage relationships, because I would love giving practical advice, and when my wife would come to me with issues or whatever, I'd be solving those issues, and she'd be like, "Just listen to me." And so I learned to ask that: Is this something you want solutions for? Or am I just listening? And then I got really good at just listening because she didn't really want solutions so much. And in the relationship I'm in now, the person's like, "You're just listening. I want solutions." So I'm like, "Yay! I can give solutions again." But yeah, and you can feel when people, especially when newer people meet you and they start kind of like, oh, hey, you could be my answer to this. You can start feeling that, them expecting and them getting excited about you being the solution, and having that opportunity then to be like, okay, is this something I want to lean into? Is this something that maybe I should ask them? Is this something you want solutions from me on? Or is this something that is in my field house, or am I in my hermit mode? Because you want to help people, but you want it to be the right timing too. Otherwise, it can turn into bitterness.
Yeah, being a healer in general and working in the healing field and the life coaching field, there's kind of like that slippery slope of like, it's who I am, but I am the healer, but it's also not me. And so it's taken me a long time, and it's more of like understanding that this is happening and that I am a healer and that I can help, and that it comes really easily, and it's just something that I am. So there's like that embodiment part, and everybody's going to think that you can help, but only so many people are actually going to reach out for help. And living in the middle of nowhere, I don't get a lot of help in the physical form. And so it's more of like that emotional help, or like coaching, or, okay, I'm in crisis, can you help me through this? So it's like I am able to help. Like, that's what I'm here for. Like, let me help you, and it's up to them to reach out and make that connection of like, okay, I'm going to take you up on this. Let's go, So there's just this line of like, I'm not going to have the expectation of even what I can do, because the more that I can detach from it, the more the healing can just transpire. So, I don't know if that answered that question, but, and, but I really try not to take other people's expectations and put them on myself, because I know myself and I know what I can do. And I also understand that it's not me.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot with like I feel like I really lean on like my repelling aura. Like after we engage in something,
Mhm.
then it's like, okay, now we can like I've delivered this information, I've initiated this for you. You now take this and you carry it on
Yep,
with you.
exactly. Yeah.
This is adorable. I love watching this. You guys are naturals. You make naturals pretty and attractive. It's like it's a thing. What do we have here? How do you balance your role as leader with your need for hermitude? These are also just very similar questions. So how do you balance your role as this leader, this effector of things? You know what? Let's hone it down. Like, so in your personal life, when you're dealing with people close to you, there's polite ways to do this, and there's ways that people can easily misunderstand, and because they're drastically different. Um, so how do you balance that kind of conversation interpersonally with people that are important to you, that you would have to do such a thing to, not just acquaintances?
Hmm. I think as a leader, with me, I try and stay focused on the main parts of the job and let other people do the other parts, instead of trying to be micromanaging it and being involved in everything. And also kind of set the course. And when it's about 80% done, kind of pull back, and let it kind of finish out, let the guys finish it out, or the people that are involved. Um, that's kind of how then you can have that hermitude side. Or if you're kind of managing it from a distance or managing people that are involved, then you can kind of have that space to be hermit instead of just being like deeply involved in every aspect of whatever it is.
I also, for me, when I'm in a natural leadership role, I don't have to be the center of attention. I don't need to be the one getting recognition. That it's making sure that all the pieces are getting done, like you were just saying,
Yeah.
and that everybody knows clearly what's expected of each person and what their role is and why it's important. And then either the project or somebody else is the front face of it. That it doesn't need, I don't need to be that public leader as long as everything is getting done.
Right.
Mhm.
To add to that, kind of bounce off that, sometimes I almost prefer being like a number two to a leader that's out front and bossing and doing that. And I'm just kind of feeding him advice and directing. And he's like, hey, what should we do with here? And I'm like, well, we should put them there. Then he goes out and bosses and does that. Yeah, that's a good role.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely do not enjoy being on like I'm very much like here it is and I will step away from it leader. Like I feel like a lot of times my role is to help people see the vision, and then once they see the vision and then everyone's like got like you said their roles and know what they're doing, I'm kind of like, all right, now y'all carry it out. I love to see it, I love to watch it, and I didn't start it, don't tell anybody it was me, like y'all got this. And then I feel like that's like if I'm like in a work leadership role, but then I think at home, like in terms of balancing and honoring my need for hermitude, I think it's just like learning to be honest with myself, to the point where now in my relationship I can be like, okay, I'm going to lay down in a dark room. I need it to be quiet and I need it to be dark, so if you're going to be in here, you can. My partner is a 6'2", Manny Jen. And so I'm like, if you want to be in here, you can. I just need it to be quiet. I'm not going to be talking, and I need it to be dark. And so like, I think learning how to be honest about that versus feeling like, well, we have to have this connection time and we have to kind of talk about whatever. But, I think that allows now both of us to really sink into our alone time and really like kind of I think I kind of initiated that with him of learning like we can have our alone time, we can do our own thing, and like it's needed because then we come back ready to like be together and enjoy each other's space and not feel like we need to kind of start shrinking back.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm married to a 6'2" manifesting generator as well.
Mhm.
What a coincidence. But I would say that mine is like built into my life, the leader part and the hermit part, and they're both in there and they're both going to happen. And some of it is like just like when I do go out, and I don't like the term leader as more as like that I'm known in my circles or in these large groups, and so I am known um in that kind of role, I guess it is. But then when I'm at home and can have both. So it's basically guaranteed in my life that I'm going to experience both, which makes it so that when I am out and about that I have more patience for it and more of that desire, because I truly have the desire to be in large groups and to go do and be and explore and have fun and travel and do all the things. Like it really is my passion in my life. So um it is great to have both.
I also think it's something that like it's the body side, like it really is this kind of like you said, I really related to you saying like I do have this passion for it, but I never really think about it. Like when I'm out and about and I'm in it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is my, I can shine out here, like this is my space. But then when I go home, I'm like, this is also my stage. You know, like, this is my space. So it's interesting. Like I never honestly think about it until I'm feeling it and I'm present in it physically.
Yeah, absolutely. It is that feeling part of it that lets me know how alive I am and how it makes me feel and how energizing and filling my cup and all of those things as this as I'm experiencing that. And then I realize, oh yes, we have both and then both are equally as important.
And I think one other piece is pulling the 2 and the 5 together. So being a natural leader never felt like something I developed or specific skills that had to be learned. Obviously honed as I matured and that kind of thing, and additional skills to learn. But as a 20-something, I needed to be told that I was a leader. And I was like, wait, this is how everybody is. And they're like, no, 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 no. And so I just, was leading life assuming that everybody had a certain level of natural ability to lead, and didn't understand initially that it's like, no, 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 you're the leader and you're naturally going to have people listen to you just because you are you.
Yeah.
Good point.
Shazam. Well spoken. The duality, that's what we're getting here to look at. And that's half the experiment. So all the way through, you've each reached, versions of that. But you ever get in the habit of asking yourself, who's noticing? When you notice that fifth line, unconscious, pristine, left pure aspect, the unconscious isn't tainted by the not self of the personality. It's mechanical. It's there. It's untouched by it. I mean, it lives in the chaos of it, but so ask yourself, who's noticing? Hey, I did that thing. Who noticed that? Just notice the separation. It's amazing. It'd be funny. How do you guys experience the separation? But that's not the question. How do you experience attracting either loyalty or distrust from others? How do you feel, dude? So maybe it's been a while because you guys have learned to filter the right people through your life more so. Maybe that's been happening, but from what you recall and or up through to current, how has that been? This whole, there's a there's a tug of war and a pull and tug between they want, oh, now it's good enough, and oh, now it's too much, and then oh, they want again, and I don't want to get in trouble, and this whole sort of consequential thing that's very not self-driven. Of course, it's but how do you guys experience that? Speak to what your experiences were. Enlighten us, enlighten the world, please. Yeah.
I would say, so I'm a Scorpio rising, so I present to the world kind of like a Scorpio, and so I feel like I get a lot of, and I'm a Scorpio stellium, so like a lot of people are distrusting of me or just don't have are, I think, put off by my intensity without me necessarily knowing it right away, or I think having to like handle that prepares me very well for handling the loyalty or distrust from the 2-5. Like, I think it has been a very long time for me from experiencing that, because naturally I think I really crave intimacy, so I don't let a lot of people in at all. And so the people who are in my life have been in my life for a very long time. And so I guess I'm just used to people being off put by me. So the balance of kind of trying to maintain both of them never really crossed my mind. But I feel like that's a very manifestor thing to say. I would be very curious to know like how you guys feel.
It's a really interesting question because I don't necessarily really feel like I have a lot of people that I distrust, and I don't know if it's like the psychic aspects of me, of like I can tell when I can read people really well. And so I feel like I've gotten to the point where I don't have a lot of people that are doing things that I don't trust or that I shouldn't trust them. And then it could be the reflector part of me that people aren't gonna come at me with bullshit because I'm gonna reflect it back to them, and they don't want that, so they're not gonna want to see it in themselves. And so I don't know if it's just because I have a amazing tribe of people around me and everybody that I do meet seems to be trustworthy. So I don't know. It's, I guess, it's more of who I am attracting and that I'm trusting the people that I am around. And I feel like a lot of the people that get me or want to be in my sphere do. And I also like I feel like the people that do reach out the most, or I'll say it this way, some people may not think that I want to have more, and so they don't reach out, where I would like to have maybe a little bit more. And so then just actually physically having the conversations of like, hey, what do you see our relationship being? Are you a text person? Are you a phone call? Do you want more people? So I'm just so vocal about it that I kind of am able to create what I want more. But also, I'm also the type of person who generally reaches out to people where people are like, they never reach out to me. And I'm just kind of like, I feel like I reach out to most. Like, I don't care either, like if I want to have a conversation today, I'm going to go make the phone call. And so maybe it's the reflector part that like, I don't know, but I do trust most of the people in my life very much.
Yeah.
For me, I think people usually trust me right off the bat. Usually I get that trust. There's not very many people I've encountered that kind of have a distrust right off the bat. But usually where my distrust comes in is whenever they're trusting me and they're and I can feel the expectation and I can feel those things. And I kind of, instead of evaluating, instead of being wise, I just kind of like, yeah, sure, maybe I can figure that out. Or I kind of throw them an idea that, yeah, I can be the answer to the problem. And then I either am not showing up the right way or not the way they're expecting or whatever. Then there's the distrust for me. And And then sometimes I'll chase after him and be like, no, which is too late at that point probably. And getting better at just recognizing the invitation at the beginning and saying yes to the right people and being able to say no.
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely the last thing that you were just saying of just letting the right people in, you know, and really doing that filtering
Yeah.
initially. And my sense of not trusting everybody fully until I have more of a sense of who they are and what their values are. And the people who are in my life really have a good meshing of values and worldview. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's well said for sure. Yeah, me too.
Because I don't question anybody in my life. I would never like I think the filter is like I truly know who these people are, so then I feel like my guard can come down, like they can be in because I know them. I know they're like I think the worldview piece is really important. Like we align a lot with like values and morals and ethics and complete worldview, even if it's like culturally different. We have the same kind of end goals, and I feel like that makes it easy to let that guard down and trust them in those ways.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Whatever reticence you guys may have had at the very beginning, when I asked you, hey, how far into your experiment are you? You guys are obviously clearly exceeding at this. Have you noticed? So you're just a living example of how everything gets better. There's an ease that comes across certain things, and it's like it's a grace. It's as if we've been graced. That was all really powerful stuff. Next question. In relationships, do you remember the sense, oh, when getting into a relationship? Yeah, this is sort of a cute, fanciful question. This would have been also back when you were young. You would have seen it more, because now that we're older, obviously, with the red light, green light effect. When getting in, and it's not just a relationship of a romantic nature, although it could be mostly that. It could be anything that's going to be pretty close, where there's going to be plenty of back and forth, mostly a romantic thing. The red light, green light. Hey, I think I like. Someone says they like you. Like, well, I'm just over here though. Oh, honey, I think I like you. And then, oh, well, then, okay, well, I'm going home now. I was like, well, wait a second, I'm still over here a little bit. I'm not here. And then back to, well, maybe not. And then back to you in this tug, a back and forth, a red light, green light. Is it related to either yourself in relation to them, or them in relation to you?
Hmm. This is a hard question.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a specific instance.
Yeah, I really don't relate to that. For me, it's definitely been a path of, having a journey of letting people in and them letting me in. And it's more of an ongoing path than a start stop.
Yeah, I feel like when I think about relationships, I feel like because even though I was like deeply intuitive, even though I was calling it being deeply intuitive, like I just knew with a lot of my relationships, like I knew this person would either be in my life for a long time or we could build something together, or like whatever it is, I feel like I just knew. And so if anything, a start stop, I think for me would be to my own internal work of like, okay, kind of like you were saying, like it's really a journey of like, okay, time to peel back this other layer. Okay, this might be this is triggering you. Let's figure out why this is triggering you. Like it's never been like I want to stop it. It's kind of been like a caution ahead. We're about to like move through some stuff and figure out another aspect of who you are. And I think because I've trusted intuitively about this particular relationship, then it's like I know that the work is worth being done, and I know that it's necessary to be done, because I feel like that's the reason that we're here, and I know myself well enough to know that. So I guess, yeah, it's never been like a, oh, I'm going to start it and stop it. It's kind of like a, all right, like we've reached yet another time to peel this back and like dive deeper into the self work.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is exactly what the question is asking, but I know in relationships I've felt, because I'm a projector and I'm ready to go deep fast. And so sometimes I'll be pedal to the metal while kind of keeping an eye on the other person. If they start pulling back, then I want to pull back and say, okay, what's going on? Where are we at? What's the deal? Or what's the trigger? And then do the work and then kind of lean back into it, if they're willing to. I'm not sure if that's what the question is referring to, but I felt that in relationships.
Mm-hmm. For me with relationships, as far as like green-red stuff from the question, I've noticed that a lot of times when friendships end for me, they just end. Like the person doesn't want to talk about it. The person does not want to own anything. They just fucking leave. Sorry for cussing. They just they can't.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's so real.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Yes.
And you're like, what just happened? I felt like I was like, I just felt so confused. Like I was left standing in the middle of a road somewhere. Like, what is happening right now?
I was ready to feed you on your deathbed. Like, excuse me? Like, what do you mean? Like, no. So, I mean, that is definitely what I experience.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, that doesn't feel good at all.
Yeah.
But as far as like other relationships, yeah, I think I've mentioned just how I feel like most of the people in my life right now respect me. Like they know me, like not the projection, like they know me, and like my friends who will say something like, oh my God, I see you, like this, like it connects me so much to them when they can understand my role, like my beingness, my reason for being in this human form. And so once I connect on that level and I know that they get it, all blocks are down. I am just one with you, and that's to me what it takes. And that's why my relationship with my husband is so great, and my brother, and things like that, where it's like they just get me and they know who I am, not what I'm doing, what I can help with. None of that. It's just that beingness of you're here on earth to be this person. So it helps me a lot.
You guys
So
are giving
Danny, I was going to say, is there anything you'd like to say to our guests
you guys are
before?
giving us huge clues on things. I mean, I'm watching things. I'm like, they all do this. Oh, this is the next thing. They all do that. And it's like I'm juxtaposing it to the 2-4 episode from last, and from before. This is like amazing stuff. And by the way, the question, I didn't set it up right. It was talking about those fanciful moments right at the beginning of something where it could go either way, and I just sort of didn't really highlight that enough. But do what you were talking about in that whole leaving, and when they leave, they're effing gone. I mean, it's like it's all a big giant punishment fest, and that's who we're not. It sounds like you guys are attracting people that also know that you know your own human design. Do you notice how it raises the consciousness of those around you if you let it, if they let it? It's like, do people around you tend to know their own design, or at least some of them? Like Mindy, for you as a reflector, would that be?
I would say that most of the people around me are spiritual in nature and have that aspect to them, but not necessarily just in the human design realm. but
Mm.
in the spiritual realm, if you're having a conversation with me, I would most likely be way too woo-woo or weird for most people.
Copy that. Well, it
Um,
helps you find your tribe, right? How
right.
about you, Sue? Just the people in your life know their design, or have you've spilled some of this out onto them? Everyone hears it natural. You cannot have helped but to freaking open your mouth and say, "Dude, look at what we got here." To at least some people. So, are those people in your realm
I
too,
would say that,
or some?
yeah, because of my life journey, most people are not. And
Mm.
most people who've been in my life for a long time are not open to this at all,
Right, right. I got,
consciously.
I got you. Yeah.
And then the last several years, definitely people who are either knowledgeable or want to know more. And I'm part of what I do is also share with people
Same
some
here.
aspects of them that
Yeah.
they might not know are unique.
Mm. Yeah, right. So you start sharing. We raise the consciousness wherever we are in aspects we can't know because of how our aura affects the world we pass through. And it's an amazing assist we give to everyone, just like the projector's always assisting us with direction just by passing through. Focuses in on us and we're like we're being penetrated. It's like I guess I got to focus in on me too, and suddenly direction sort of. But how about you, Justin, with that? Like, there are the people around you that know it. You got a big job, you got kids, and you got that painful. And I'm very sorry for your loss, of course. And
Yeah,
just,
thank you. Yeah, I
yeah,
would echo Sue's experience. Up until 5 years ago, I was uber in the Christian world, and this all is very evil to that whole world. So,
oh, is it? Is that a
yeah,
thing?
oh, big time. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, at least at the tribe I was with, yeah, this would have been considered demonic and evil for sure.
Copy,
Mhm.
copy.
Anything related to astrology, it's just yeah. Anyway,
Right.
so that whole group has kind of, in a way, and it was actually kind of an interesting process because as my wife was passing, we had the community surround us, and they needed to. It was during that last few years that I was making some of these transitions, and so I was kind of doing it on the insides quietly because I didn't want to rock the cart as people were helping us.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
after everything kind of cleared and my wife went to heaven and we kind of settled, I began coming out more and just seeing almost my entire community reject me and reject that. And so I've been in the process of just rebuilding my community. And it was hurtful and confusing at first, but it's to a place where I've kind of let go of that. And I'm kind of excited about the new opportunities and it's already starting to have some people come into my life that are supporting that. And it's awesome.
Think about this power of how far we've been taken from ourselves, such that when you find out what you really are, even people shunning you can't stop the journey. It can't. There's this not can't
Right.
stop itness about it. And I know what you mean. I've lost certain things, man. Both my
Yeah.
kids think I'm
And
a
even in
shark.
that, Yeah, and even in that, it was kind of interesting because the human design process was working behind the scenes because they had put me on this pedestal as this one type of leader and one type of savior to the solution or whatever because I was a pastor and those kind of things, and so then to like switch that on them, they were like, "Oh, you're not who we thought we were," and so it's actually working out the human design stuff even in their rejection of me in that way a little bit.
I'm a huge believer. I don't know what. I'm just a huge believer. God is great and gives me good chocolate cake and all the time. And the fact of the matter is, none of this has ever gotten in the way of that.
Yeah,
He set every other system for. No one complains that atoms are atoms and gravity pulls down. He set that in motion. Nobody complains that, hey, I get a tan when I stand in the sun. Why complain about these mechanics? They're just a little notebook on the mechanics. If you want to look at it from a real big picture, it's like, let's give the human some clues here. You know, it's anyway. How about you, Corinne? Just friends or people that know about their design and to like what degree and is it effective in your life yet? Because we would all love that, dude. Everyone's awake. How cool would that be, right?
I would say I generally do relate to that, like attracting the spiritual people in my life, period. I think a lot of the people in my life are on my wavelength. And I would say I definitely, introduced a lot of people in my life to human design, but I've never been, um, I think, rejected in that sense because I think I always
Gotcha.
kind of start and initiate that wave in the various stages with the whoever's around in my life at that time. Like when I first got into tarot and astrology. Like now I have multiple friends who I'm doing, they're like curious about it. Same thing with pretty much anything, like I really delve into, and because I really enjoy it, then I'm like, okay, let me read your chart so I can relate to you better. Like, let me read your chart so I can relate to you better. Like, so I think not everyone is applying it in the same way I am, but I do. I will share, like, send them stuff on Instagram and things of that nature. And so, I'm planting the seeds. It might bloom, it might not, but the seeds are definitely there for the people in my life.
Well, it's incredible. It's incredible that this whole thing goes on this way. But yeah, and I wanted to ask that. So I started about 17 years ago, a little under, and it was a ghost town, and a couple of people were just like, "You're crazy, you're nuts," and so it was an uphill battle, begging people to let me read a little bit of their chart, and only being humored moments at a time, until I had touched something. And then it was like a typical response today at times, when you see people just, I don't want to talk about that. And you see a franticness, and it's like clearly they're wound up. It was the weirdest sensation at first, but thanks for sharing all that. Let's move on. There's a cool game, and I think you guys are going to solve some wire problems.
Oh, don't ruin it. That's the Pierce to Resistance. Okay, so Danny, we are going to see you at the end for the transit weather with Moni.
Transit weather.
So adieu for now. Boop. Sorry, cut him off. Didn't mean that. Really didn't mean that. Our guests know that, right? Yeah, they do. So this section, we will need your phones handy because your phones are going to be your controllers. So this particular game, how it works is you are you're guessing some statistics. The most basic explanation I can give you. You're guessing some statistics. We're only going to play one round of this. This is your little warm-up game before we get into like the more relaxing game. But yes, let me get this started and get you all set up before I bid you adieu. So, like I explained before, this is your URL and your room code. I'm going to check to see who comes in first. Perfect. So Mindy is the VIP. So Mindy, you are in charge of seeing that everybody joins. And once they all come in, then on your phone, you're going to hit the button saying everyone is now in, and you will commence. So that's the case for anybody during all the other games. If you happen to come in first, they give you the VIP badge in charge of the rest of the players.
All agents, please don't give Agent 13.
That's so apt for a projector to choose the
You'll spoil him.
Bird. I think we might have temporarily lost Sue. Sue, are you still there?
Okay, truth or dare?
Truth.
What is
Yes, you
your
are.
favorite
Okay.
Yes. Now I'm back. Just
Okay.
trying to do everything
more
on my
emotional
phone, and I
heart-wrenching,
don't think
the
that's gonna
Interesting.
function this evening.
You up for one more?
I was going to
Come
say,
on.
Sue, do you have a
Yeah, sure, what
second
the heck?
device,
I'll
like a
try to dare
tablet
this
or
time.
something
Perfect.
lying around?
For the next
Or
72 hours,
Unfortunately,
I
not
dare you to
where I
not
am right
listen to
now.
conversations I have with my wife.
Yeah, that's going to be awkward.
Has it been really obvious?
We can
So
hear you
what
breathing on the phone.
like you could
I'm
toggle
sorry,
back
ma'am.
and
I
forth,
should have used
but
a
then no
secure
one is
wiretap.
going to be able to see you or hear you. I think. I'm pretty sure if we do that.
It's totally cool if I chill out and watch you guys. I'm happy with that.
Okay. So I will take you off screen
Hey,
for now.
Warren, can you do me a huge
And
favor? I'm
then
not calling the State Department.
Mindy, you can
Come
say
on.
everybody's
I
name.
don't have an ex-girlfriend who works there. Why?
Hey, your government here. We have been sorta collecting information about all of you. Now, before you get all angry and call your congressperson, let us make it up to you by turning it all into a game that we call Guespionage. Now let's administer some fun. Who's up first?
Be leaving.
Close your eyes. Imagine you're at the DMV. What percentage of people have misrepresented their weight on driver's licenses, even to a small degree?
90%.
Give it your best guess. You get more points the closer you come to the actual percentage. Got it. 85%. Everyone else, do you think the correct answer is higher or lower? The vote is lower. And Surveil says 50%. You weren't within 30%, so no points for you. All right, who said lower? Here's some points. Next up, we've collected data about everything, even this.
Oh boy.
What percentage of people only go to the dentist when something is wrong? %. All right, what do you think?
Believe it.
It's
Believe it.
unanimous again. And Surveil says 53%. No one believes me when I say it, but it all comes down to flossing. Let's see who got it right. Well done. You get points. Okay, who's up next? What should I search for in the old Surveillance Pro next? Ooh, I know. What percentage of callers prefer total silence to music when on hold with customer service? 35%. Everyone else, higher or lower?
Believe it. Believe
Right
it.
down the middle. Okay, let's see the right answer. 21%.
What?
Hey, you're a better guesser than our trained rats. Nice job.
Depends on the music. If it's good music.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got it right. Ooh, points for
I'd rather
you.
listen to silence than crap music.
Yeah. That's why I was like, okay, this isn't about me because I don't want to hear
Let's see where you stand after round one.
Believe it.
Onward to round two, where things work a little differently, but I'll get to that in a bit.
What is going on in that picture?
First up,
All right. I was also wondering what was going on in that picture. I was like, this is a little terrifying. What is happening right now? I have no answer for you. I wish I had an answer. I do not have an answer. Ooh. Oh, yeah, this is the right one. Sorry, I made a boo-boo here. Okay, so on to the next game. This is a lot of fun. You make up stuff. You'll see. I don't really have to answer more. And this game's fun. Audience, you can vote. So don't do that now for audience. So I'll let the audience know when they're able to join in. Perfect. So Corinne, you can do the honor and say everyone's in. And now everybody who wants to play along, you can use the code that's going to appear on the screen. So you could vote with this code and going up to that site. So
Hi. I want you all on your best behavior. Do not make me turn this game around. Time for round one. 2 prompts will appear on your device, which you can answer in any clever or not clever way you want. Everyone will choose between your answer and someone else's and decide who wins. You'll score points based on the percentage of people who prefer your answer. Have at it. Let's take a look. Up first, the name of the upcoming TV show starring men with big arms and tiny legs. Okay, select your favorite quip. Next one, the worst thing to admit during a sleepover. Vote away. Your next prompt is the worst way to die, death by 1,000 blank. Okay, vote. That's round one. Let's take a look at the scores. Time for round two, where everything is worth 2 times as much as that silly round one. Let's see what we're working with. Prompt number 1 is a brand of pants for mermaids. Okay, pick your favorite and vote. And next, when confronted by a mountain lion, stay calm, stand as tall as possible, and blank. Get to voting.
Your oaths.
I spelled it wrong. Spelling is not one of my strong suits.
We all know what you meant.
Next, if this player had an underground club, the secret password would probably be blank.
That's hilarious.
That's the end of round 2. Let's take a look at the scores. This is round 3, the last lash. Everyone gets the same one single prompt this time. Complete this word lash task. And here's what you did. In the final round, you get to give out a gold medal to your top quip. Make it count. Brace yourselves, here come those medals. Now we transform those medals into points. That's all. Now for the final scores.
Good job, man.
Cute little game.
That's fun.
All right. And the last game of the night is going to need most of your brain power. So get ready. This is a team sport, so you are all working together. You need to be able to do that. So hold on a second while I go get it. This is, you are a crew of people who are diffusing bombs. You are going to have pages of instruction, but the instructions are spread out between all of you. So you need to work together to sort out the instructions to make sure you don't blow up.
You're asking us for this help?
Joy.
Hmm.
Where are we? Okay. All right. Have fun. You're playing too? What happened?
All bombs all the way down. Diffuse them until you explode.
Hold on, let me fix this.
Endless work.
Danny, you're not supposed to join.
I was excited Danny was with us.
No, that's cheating. This is the 2 5s moment of glory. This does not work with the voting thing. So Danny, do not join.
Defuse as many bombs as you can before you explode. I'll just stand here and watch.
Page 1, cut the 5th wire. Follow the instructions. How do we do it? Cut the 5th wire? It says page 1, cut the 5th wire. Do you have instructions too?
Mine is page 2.
Okay.
And it says, do not cut black wires, even if another rule says that you should.
Okay, then what's yours, Corinne?
Corinne, you're muted.
Oh.
Sorry.
You're right.
Mine is page 3, and I have cut all wires next to wire 1.
Okay, so we can still do 5 because you said no black, right, Mindy?
I said, right, no black.
And then yours says what? Cut all wires next to 1?
Yeah, so then cut 2.
2 and 5. How do we cut them?
I don't have any buttons.
Tap buttons to cut wires. I have buttons.
Oh, you do?
Okay.
I do. So I should
5
do
and
1.
5 and 1, I think.
Oh.
Should have done 5 first, probably.
No, it was cut all the buttons next to 1.
We should have done.
Oh, shoot. Yeah,
oh,
you're
and
right.
2. Yeah, 5 and then
Yeah.
2. Crap.
I would love to know, like,
Now that we understand it, we can do it better.
Yeah.
well, and
Let's try
I
it
would
again.
love
Can
to
we try it
see
again?
what profiles like are like super competitive, and then like we're like whatever.
I think we all were like, oh no.
I hit retry.
Okay.
Okay, page 1.
I have page. Oh yeah, I have page 2.
Page 1, cut all wires adjacent to wire 2. But let's read all the rules first.
Okay, I have page 2. Cut wire 3 if it is red.
Okay, that's Mindy's, and then Corinne.
Mine says wires need to be cut in order from left to right.
Okay, what was
Okay,
the first
so
one again?
1, cut all wires adjacent to wire 2. So that'd be 1 and 3, and then going from left to right. And then Corinne's was cut 3 unless it's what?
Mine is cut 3 if it is red.
Oh,
So maybe just cut 1.
Yeah, maybe at least 1, and then 1 and 3 if. What in the world? Why not? Well, that's said.
It's said unless it's red.
That is in order from left to right.
Oh my god.
I call shenanigans.
Yeah, whatever.
No, you misread it. It was right to left.
Oh, fart.
Was it?
Oh,
you're right. Oh my god.
And I think I misread mine too, because mine definitely said if it is red.
Oh, I've got the wires now, but I also have page 1.
Wait, I have the wire.
I love that the reflector got it backwards.
Okay, wait.
Mine says. Go ahead.
Okay. Mine
I
says
have page
cut
4, go
even
ahead.
wires.
Yours
Do
says
not
what, Mindy?
cut the second wire, even if other rules say that it should.
Okay. Mine says page 1, cut all blue wires, which is 1. And yours says what?
Cut
Mine
even
says-
wires.
Even?
2 and
Even
4.
wires.
2 and 4?
Okay,
Do
but wait,
not
because
cut
mine
the second
says
wire, even if other rules say that you should.
And what does yours say, Corinne?
page 2. Wait, what? I have multiple pages. Wait, hold on. Mine says page 4, and then it says page 2. It's supposed to say odd, not even.
Oh,
Wait, so who?
wow.
Wait, so who has page 2?
Me.
Okay, so
It says
so
cut
what was it
even
again?
wires.
So cut odd wires, except
And then it says do not cut the second wire, even if other rules say that it should.
I'm gonna cut one.
Okay. Okay.
And then what's the other one? Even so
Odd.
four?
The odd. Cut 3.
4 or 3? 3.
Nice.
We did it.
We did one.
Oh boy, we go again.
have
Page
page
1,
3.
cut the third wire.
What's page 2?
Cut black wires if the bomb's model ends with a number. Otherwise, do not cut black
It doesn't.
wires.
Cut blue wire. Okay. Oh, okay. That's tragic.
We should not go into this profession.
No.
No, we should not. This is why I think that those rooms, those escape rooms,
Oh, they're
I'm
so
like, that sounds
stressful.
like torture to me. There's no
It's
way I would
terrible.
wanna-
Don't ever do it.
Don't
I
ever
just sat there. I was like, this is terrible.
Yep.
Well, you can try again, or you can be like, I think we are
No,
not
we're
going to try
good.
that
I think
again.
we're good.
No, I think we're good. Yeah, I think we learned our
Amazing.
lesson.
That was very entertaining to watch. Poor Sue couldn't join us. That would have been interesting to have fellow 2-5. Because you guys noticed that we are observing how the profiles do across this particular game. So for the record, holders of the 2-4s, they got to the point where they're no longer defusing bombs, but they're actually organizing file folders.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
is
that
not me.
it was very impressive how far they got. So so far they are still the record holders. We will know at the end of the party series who went the furthest in this particular game. But I'm glad we were able to get some laughs. That's the whole point, for you to have fun and get insights. So again, please remind everybody what you do, where you'd like them to find you. Throw it in the chat, and we will bid you adieu. So whoever wants to go first.
Are we saying goodbye or what are we doing?
You're telling everybody who you are, where they can find you if they'd like to connect with you, and throw your handles or however you want people to reach out to you in the chat.
Okay.
I'll go first, y'all. Surprisingly, not surprisingly. I am, I guess, a healer of all kinds. So if you want to come chat with me about human design or astrology or tarot, Reiki, yoga, systemic pleasure, all the good things, you know, I'm at Flowering Heart Wellness on TikTok and I think Facebook, and then flowering_heart_wellness on Instagram. And I'd love to just chat. Like I said, I'm a double Gemini. I'll talk all day. So love talking about the things I care about.
Go ahead, Minnie. Are you muted?
Oh, yeah, Mindy, you're muted.
Mindy is muted.
Yep. Mindy Lutch Coaching is my website, and I have the same name on Instagram and Facebook as well. Yeah, if you want, my life coaching, I do a lot of one-on-one sessions, a lot of reboot, total, just start from scratch type sessions are some of my favorite ways to for people to understand their programming and have the universal perspective of what's going on based on their thoughts and their actions. And I can reflect to you what the universe is seeing so that we can get you more aligned into where you want to go. You can find me on my website or on Instagram.
Yeah. And you guys can find me to chat on Instagram at Justin L. Osborne. And yeah, just talk about anything or ask any questions.
And I was going to extend the same invitation out to Sue. Sue, you, I'm not sure if you're there. There you go. There she is. It's like, you can plug yourself.
So I am the only superver in the world. I have a cousin, Susan, but that's it. So I am reachable by that everywhere, as well as my website. I professionally work with sales professionals and entrepreneurs who want to take their business to the next level while also having an amazing life in the process.
Beautiful. And yes, Justin and Mindy, do not forget to put your links in the chat so then people in the replays can come find you easily that way. But with that, another final thank you. I'm sure Danny wants to also bid all
thanks,
of you
guys.
farewell.
This was just amazing. It's like we're letting the people see that HD is really a thing, and we can come to know. But thanks so much for being on. Love you so much for doing this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Justin, let's chat. And anyone, just please text me and tell me where you're at.
Right.
Yeah.
And same for all of you, right? Now you have a little 2-5 little pod.
Yep.
So feel free to, keep in touch with each other, start a group chat, send each other memes,
Yeah.
whatever. And yeah, that's me, the four talking. But with that, adieu, and we are going to now. I will tag, and I'll bring Moni back on to do the weather report. So I'm going to have everyone come off
Adios,
stage.
everyone. Yep. Much love. Moni, so that's really cool, dude. We come tic-tac-toeing in. I don't know if you saw that. It was crazy. Crazy talk. I'm looking for our transit. Where are we in the wheel? I think you're on mute. Can you hear her?
Yeah, she's on mute.
I always turn it on mute when I pop off screen so I don't weird sounds don't come up for anybody. But I'm back. I'm here.
So 5258 is right after the Vessel of Love incarnation.
Yeah, so after extremes, we moved to stillness, which is kind of interesting.
What was before it? Before it was 12.
It was
Caution.
12 and 11, yeah. So caution,
Caution.
then extremes, then stillness.
Yep. And then stillness. So it's basically like plant, look what you're doing, dive. Reflect. Really, really take time, reflect. Yeah.
That really is true, though. That's really fun, going through this with you and getting to actually see those little transitions and how, the one goes into the next one and it goes into the next one.
This part of the year is meant to do that, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. So June 25th to June 30th is our next ones, our 52 and our 58.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see as we've been following it along on the wheel, we continue to move counterclockwise with both the sun and the earth. So the sun is in gate 52, which is this energy of stillness, taking a break, of taking a pause and observing, right? And then on the flip side, we have 58, which is vitality and stimulation. So it's interesting to see these polarities continue to play out.
It's so interesting that this polarity is chosen. And I keep saying that to really read a gate, you read the gate and then you understand it, but then to recognize where it came from, 12, where it's going, where it came
15.
from, 15, where it's heading, and then what's on the other side. Its opposition helps flavor the meaning of what the gate does. That stillness is a deep stillness to physically adrenalize, basically wrangle the thing still into its intelligence and its incredible mode of Buddha to watch with all its power, because it's the root. It's like a little electrified zone. And then the vitality is hopping off to the left to go be logical and pour something into the world it can share, that it's identifying with. It's the joyous. It's our most joyous when it's working.
And they're both root gates, I was going to say as well. They're both in the root center.
Yep. So this is an adrenalized time of getting up and identifying with the thing that suddenly you're joyously connected with, and you'll know it because you'll share it. You'll know it because you'll share it, and you'll see it clearly because it's pointing at a very deep, deep, intuitive center of the spleen. So
Very cool. All right, so the sun is in gate 52 this week. This is the energy of keeping still. It's known as the mountain, it's stillness. It is temporary and self-imposed inaction for the benefit of assessment. It's a root gate. It's part of the collective circuitry, right? So collective, we think sharing, those automatically go together. And the specific circuitry is the understanding or the logic circuit. And then gate 52 connects to gate 9, which is this energy of focus. And so then the 52 and the 59 is this channel of concentration, right? And so the way I was taught it is that the 52 is like the big eagle on the big lake, right? That's just like gliding and just like going through and observing and seeing what's happening, right? And just being still in that. And then the 9 is that like focusing in and like diving into the lake to catch the fish. So the gate.
yeah, quite literally, think about what this gate's doing. The forces decided upon our creation that we needed not just a stillness, we needed a powerful stillness, an adrenalized stillness to like literally, we need 52 with all of its energy to go ahead and wrangle the moving thing that is just so joyously focused and concentrated. And it's like, no, come sit back down. It's like, you can't lasso me, you silly head center. You can give me a little pressure. That's it. It's like, no, but the root's like, I'm an electrified magnet and I can pull you in and hold you temporarily for assessment, my child. I guess basically is what it's doing. It's amazing that it holds us still. And then on the other side, when we go to 58.
Oh, well, hang on, because I still got the bottom thing to read. So it's the 52 is energy under pressure that is focused on assessment, the raw power to concentrate. And I really appreciate how you said that of just like, it is this adrenalized power of stillness, right? And so like initially you hear stillness and you're like, okay, it's stillness. It almost feels like nothing.
The lack of adrenals, right? The lack of everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
you'd like presume it'd be the lack thereof, but no. It's actually this adrenalized root pressure, this power, this force to be still. Like, oh, that's different.
Indeed.
Cool.
No, that's what it's doing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a genetic proclivity for us to do that. It's in the world. Humanity has it, and it's everywhere when we allow it. We could easily hold ourselves still for assessment on all fronts, and we probably should.
Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn. We can all take that in. So next up, we have the Earth in gate 58. This is the joyous. This is the gate of vitality. It says that stimulation is the key to joy, right? So it's also a root center gate, and it's also part of the collective sharing, and it's also part of this understanding logical circuitry, right? So these are like related, right? It connects to gate 18, which is this energy of correction. And then there's a typo where it was supposed to say the gate 58 to 18, not 1034. It's the 58 to 18. It's the channel of judgment, and that's where we can correct that. Right,
that's
Grant?
funny. Yep.
It is super funny. So my apologies. It's the channel 5818, which is the channel of judgment, which is to have that joy, to spark, and then the 18, which is going to correct it. And so gate 58 is this energy to satisfy a driving desire to contribute something of value. You focus your vitality and joy for life on correcting anything that keeps society from achieving and maintaining well-being and health.
And forward motion, and of course, the thing we 9-centered humans are doing, a path towards beauty and communion. I mean, that's what we want. That's the thing that's driving us. Fill our spirit by showing a path towards just beauty and communion, where things are better, more abundant, and all that. And 58 will recognize that pattern. This is a week where these two powerful forces adrenalized, one of them like an electric field, like in the Matrix. I swear to God, the 52. This is a great time to literally reassess. Watch how naturally you can never sit yourself still, but then you'll hear the words right now and just suddenly try and sit yourself still. And suddenly you'll be like, oh my God, that energy is in me. Even if it's only intermittent, it'll be more than you had it before as soon as you allow it. And it's focusing at trying to pour a joy out into the world. And that joy, it's funny, this is not desire. This is sudden, technically in the moment joy. Looking in the moment and looking forward joy, because it's always looking forward, and it's it's a logical process. It's about, hey, all the gears fit together. And look, the clock spun and it saved time. It took time. It's on time. That's an incredible logical joy in that moment, and this is that. So take time to sit still and assess where your joy for a logical pattern, identifying with a solution that comes from deep places and a potential enthusiasm that wants to, in all cases, share it into the world. You feel that energy, run with it. It's beautiful and it's you. And if you don't at the moment, wait for the right timing. You'll see it. Your strategy and authority will tell you.
Mm-hmm. And that like coming from a place of joy, right? And that idea that like this 18 is this gate of correction, right? It's judgment, right? It's seeing what is off in that pattern. But it's
What has been
about
spoiled, right? What has been
yeah.
spoiled.
And like, but the fact of it coming from this place of joy, it isn't just like nitpicking and this is wrong and this is wrong, or even, worse yet, like picking at yourself or picking at another person. It's not about like judgment in this, kind of jerky way. It's this judgment and correction to fix what has been spoiled from this place of joy, from this place of like, I want it to be better. I want to create something beautiful. It's from this place of joy and stimulation.
And the
and good
joy
health.
is there, just like you're saying. It's literally just like that. And it's there even when it already is working. It doesn't need it new. It needs it continuing. So the joy is there a year later when the same thing is working. It's still maintaining the things. It's using its process. The joy is there, and it hopes it'll always be there. And its need to challenge will absolutely show up if there's any disturbance in the stream. This thing is working, and challenge will show up whenever there's any disturbance in any of that. Challenge any authority that tries to change that, essentially. Very challenging. It's an energy to challenge, and it can seem challenging at times, but it's not supposed to be personal. It's just sharing an identification.
Nice.
How else could we say live out the week? Share what you are identified with this week. While this sun earth is in the sky, affecting you and driving a force into a way that you are now grounded as well.
And
Share what
grounding
yeah.
and
Sorry.
grounding no like I don't want to interrupt you got such good stuff that you're saying, right? So it's like the earth is about where we ground, right? So how can we ground ourselves from this place of joy, this place of stimulation, this place of just love for life for the sake of living, because it's amazing, like everything is amazing all the time, right? So grounding ourselves in this place of joy and vitality and what stimulates us, right? So then we can take in that energy from the sun of being like still, right? Of that adrenalized stillness, right? That active stillness, right? It's not that you're doing nothing. It's not you're just like, meh, right? It's this active place of stillness and like gliding, right? Like that hawk gliding over the lake, right? There's a stillness to it, but it's like he's still looking, he's still paying attention, right? So grounding in our joy in order to shine this light and this energy of active stillness and awareness.
Yeah, and a stillness as an active state of awareness, awaiting to release its energy. Just start to feel it this week, and don't get carried away with it, but recognize this is a week in time where plenty of logical, practical things get done because you've taken the time for reassessment. And watch and see if you fight the notion of taking time to assess things. Taking time and still see if you fight it. See if you notice that you start noticing, I need to get still to assess things, and then but you're also fighting it and won't do it. Notice if that argument is even there in your psyche a little more than it was last week, for instance. The sun earth moves us as it moves the wheel. So
That's great. So incarnation crosses for this week, right? So people born this week, little babies coming into the world, and anyone else's birthday is around this time. We start off with the right angle cross of service. Logical people with the responsibility and fuel to ensure that the pattern moving us toward the future is correct/corrected. I have a friend with the cross of service, and he's always the person that like some crazy thing is going to happen, and he's going to be the one that's there to fix it. He's going to be the one that's taking the worst shift to make sure everyone is okay, because somebody has to do it. This cross of service is this someone has to do it, and it might as well be him. And so these are really quite impressive people that like It is just part of their role to take on this service, to be there because somebody's got to do it.
And they don't mind.
No, it's a
That's
very
the whole
just
thing.
wow.
That they don't mind as long as, again, as long as always embedded with the right tribe, able to share the right things and able to be themselves. Human design lets us be ourselves, and understanding these crosses helps us see how the movement in our greater world is around us being ourselves. You
And
know,
when we enter into it correctly.
yeah. Did we do the left angle already?
No, we haven't even done the juxtaposition. We were just nerding out about this cross of service people and how great they
Oh,
are. So
oh,
next up,
it's
as the right angle shifts into the juxtaposition, right? So that's when it goes into the 4-1 profile, and that's the juxtaposition cross of stillness. People quietly, joyously building networks, creating opportunities to influence others with their potential, depth, and solutions.
becoming very fixed in this stillness because the 4-1 juxtaposition is very much keynoted with fixedness, as it's supposed to be. It helps become the knuckle, that joiner between the glue between the right and the left angle as we move around the wheel. And without it, we would keep falling apart at every gate. We would literally break in half at every gate. That wouldn't work out so well.
No.
So we need them, but and the stillness. So think about your life. If you have this juxtaposition cross, you can literally be unmoved at times where you just won't. The stillness for assessment can seem gripping. If it seems gripping at a moment, check in with your strategy and authority. Check in with where things aren't quite aligned as it relates to your design. Come in for a reading, of course. This juxtaposition cross I could see being difficult in certain ways, but it's and of so much value in every other way. Essentially, in every other way, this stillness is literally the quiet joyous is at some point in time going to explode into influence and its network and a ton of words and a lot of freaking externalizing because there's a lot of investigating. So it's not just a passive quietly sitting by while nothing happens. They've got the juice. Let them explode with their stillness and that assessment. It's adrenalized force waiting to, it's not in action.
It's building up.
Building up to the depth charge. So basically at this point, this juxtaposition cross reminds me of Ready, Set, Go. And Ready, Set, Go is between the right angle and the left angle.
That's right. Great. And then we shift into the left angle cross of demands. People who demand solutions be found, corrections be made, and agreements enforced in order to protect society. These are, it's a hall monitor.
Oh, yeah. So think about it. They have to universalize. That means the karma they're living it out by getting it right with other people. So it's always universalization, even though it's a fifth line theme, but it is transpersonal in nature. It always sees across the various gaps that the right angles don't see across. And so this left angle cross of demands, clearly, if they've spent all the time in the right angle of service with this powerful corrective force, dude, it's no small thing when 1858 is like pointing its adrenaline fire hose at you, correcting something. Yeah, it's a lot and it's needed. Well, as it relates to like if you're being a douche, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when it's correct, right?
Yeah, when they're correct and the person that they're being correct at is still being a douche about it, that's just not a pretty spot for that person who's not being, for either of them really. And this left angle cross has gone through all that, meaning it's made all the details and all the contracts and the things, and now it's gone through the juxtaposition of reflection and basically building that through this network. And now, boom, get it right. Keep it right. Don't make me correct your ass over and over again. This message has been broadcast ubiquitously. This is the emergency broadcast system. Now you know. That's what demands does. This whole thing, agreements couldn't be more on track. And it's not just written business agreements. It's not just, it is in order to protect society and yourself in it and your tribe in it. So the society part is everything right back to the individual. It's a full expansive protection through correction. And it's joy of doing that and sharing that. And it's lack of joy if they can see that it needs to be done and it's not getting done and society's falling apart. It's like these guys are like a total barometer for this.
That's so cool. Yep. All right. So recap. June 25th to June 30th, the sun is in gate 52, the energy of stillness, and the earth is in 58, which is this energy of vitality and stimulation and joy. And so looking at the hexagrams, right, we're pulling this straight from the I Ching, which is one of the bases of the synthesis of human design, is the Chinese I Ching, right, which it shows like the full expression of human experience and human archetypes. And so what I find very, very fun for this one is gate 52, this stillness, which is known as the mountain. It is made up, the hexagram is made up the trigrams, right? The hexagrams is the 6 lines, the trigrams are the 3, right? So gate 52 is the trigram of the mountain with the trigram of the mountain on top of it. So it's literally the double mountain. Just like
The mountain over the mountain. Look at that.
right? I just thought that was so cool.
The
And
mountain sits still. That's the thing. What's the mountain do? It's powerfully sit still.
Mhm.
You know, just yeah. I
And
love
like
the
from the
mountain.
top, it's that like that yang, right? It's that like masculine, it's that electric. But then underneath with both of the trigrams, there is that like feminineness, right? There is that passivity, there is that like waiting, that electric, that magnetism, right? So that magnetism is like hanging out underneath, just building it up,
This is
calling everything towards it, and
a
then boom.
perfect way to see the yin and the yang in these two hexagrams, because the stillness is severely foundationalized by the yin. It's almost as if it should be in the earth position, but of course it's not. We're just talking about the lines. And vitality is seriously cluttered with the yang, and it sounds like a yang force. You know, I think they go together.
Oh, absolutely. That's what's so beautiful about all of this, right? And even like that lake, which is just like, okay, sure, at the top, it's very like movement and fluid and stuff, but underneath, it's like solid,
Bedrock.
right?
It's all this yangy bedrock,
Yeah,
right?
that Yankee, that electric, that stimulation. And then on the over is that like feminine, that magnetic
Mm.
energy.
I used to not think much about trying to I'm like, dude, you got 6 lines, there's some broken, some not, and you're trying to add all these words to it. Again, when I was more of a doubter at the very beginning of my experience, and you know, uh, the more I look at it, that's what those guys did, and they came up with 64 hexagrams, 6 lines each, 384 separate descriptions with an exaltation and a detriment, and fixing of. I don't know if they fixed the planets. They didn't. I don't think they did actually.
I don't think they fixed them for more. The I Ching was more about the changing
The
and that you're
changing,
looking
right?
how it changes from the one to the next because everything is always in this state of change. And then seeing which one it is changing and shifting into is my
The I
understanding.
Ching gave us the actual nuts and bolts mechanical knowledge en masse, and those guys did this. They sat there and looked and said and just talked it through. They nerded out. We get the benefit from them having been struck by some profound stuff and then nerding out for it for like a bunch of years, like you and I would if we were stuck on an island or in some monk cage somewhere, you know?
Yeah. It's so
Wow.
beautiful though. It's so
Yeah.
fun. I still love doing this with you every week and like seeing how it
Yeah.
shifts and changes and just exploring it together.
Yeah. So back to, I guess, the week and what to expect. It's like these are 2 high adrenal gates, and is this the last slide?
This is the last slide, yeah, so we're just free talking now.
Let's go back full screen, if we can.
Yeah. Thanks,
So
Moana.
oh, thank you, Moana. Is that our lovely in the sky?
Our
Moana.
overlord, our Twitch overlord,
That's so awesome. I
our
love this.
manifester fucking
Yeah.
puppet.
Yeah. Right. That's
Yeah,
funny.
adrenalized energy for this week. It's both in the root center. So what do we how do we help people deal with that, right? So feeling that adrenalized, feeling that pressure. How do we kind of help our audience deal with that?
Open or closed root center, open or defined root center, it almost wouldn't matter because the driving force is all around. And yes, it will be a difference. If you're open, if your root center is open, these 2 gates will intermittently drive you to this process of wanting to sit still and then basically experiencing the drive outward to share. And if it's defined and you have other gates going on in this, or when you have a definition to it, some of that will be actually having to be filtered through that other definition. Some of it might be easier to miss in a way, really, because you got another powerful definition telling you, oh, no, you know, use this propaganda, not this propaganda, use this information, not this information. And so if you're defined, I can almost say how you could, in certain ways, miss it a little bit. Just plant yourself and recognize time to witness my power and stillness, and watch how that drives something out through. Keep pointing to the left because that's where 58 goes. It shoots off to the left up the logic stream of understanding that's getting to this incredible identification of something it's going to be enthusiastic about. 58 wants to spill out gate 16 enthusiasm. It's just 58 though, and so but it's got
Just
all of that
start.
in it. It's the start. It's the fuel.
It's almost like I feel like it's like a race gun, like boop.
Yeah, absolutely. And the race gun and the race guy banging the race gun, they know dang well what's going to happen. So 58 isn't dumb, you know what I mean? It knows what's supposed to happen, and it knows because its joy is contingent on that, the successful sharing of what you sat still for in the first place. So let yourself sit still. Let yourself be driven out into the thing that you identify. Let yourself share this thing according to your profile and strategy and authority, and see where this carries you and witness how it can move you. Just witness.
Yeah, watch the movie, enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show. Yep. Don't take it personal.
Never.
All right. Yeah, I feel good.
I feel so good. Thank you, Danny. So much fun every week. I love it.
You too, Moni. Light me up.
And there's Moana.
There's Moana.
Overlord is back.
The Overlord. That was so
Thank
cool.
you.
Looking up.
Just replace Professor with Overlord.
Can we? At least for one show. Come on, one segment.
For one show, okay.
Puppet
We will,
Master.
at some point we will.
The
we
three
will have
fives
that, and
won't
we'll
mind. You
see.
can do it next. You can do it
I
next. The 3 5s don't care. They'll
Oh,
adapt
you
to
think the
anything.
3 5s don't care?
They
Okay,
don't care. They don't
let's see
care.
if they notice. That'd be pretty
Yeah.
funny.
That'd be funny.
And that could be the running prank because we know that the 3 5s are probably not watching this particular episode.
Right.
But anyhow, thank you everyone for watching this edition of the Profile Line Party, and we are so grateful that you come join us every week, whether it's live or on the replay. And if you're new and you've been lurking, it's time to hit follow. Like,
Yeah.
show us some love. That's how we know that you're watching, other than me staring at the replay numbers. So, please do
Build
show
it,
us some
follow it,
love.
love it, own it.
Yes.
See it.
So next week we are continuing this Profile Line Party train, and we're moving on to the 3 5s. Whoop, whoop,
Bam.
whoop. Yeah, so
Fun.
it's going to be a lot of fun, and same format as today. What we're going to be streaming at the same time. We're going to be doing the transit weather at the end, so you will get all those goodies. Do either of you have anything you'd like to say to our audience before we say adieu?
Thank you,
I'm all
everyone.
about the ado.
Yeah, thank you everyone watching now live replay. Thank you to our guests, super fun, really fun, enjoying like playing with them and learning with them, and see you next week. Thanks for
Spread
hanging
the
out.
word. Spread the word. Wake up the
Yes.
world. Let's do this thing.
Spread the word. Amazing. So with that, see you all next week.
Catch you on the flip, everyone.